Hi, sixth grade. This is Mrs. Martin. I am excited to give your second book talk of the year. Already, we are set for the month of November and ready to talk about more great books. I'm going to begin by launching into some information that I hope is already familiar to you, but maybe just some good reminders. The first is, how exactly can you get a book from the library? Well, some of this is relatively new and other parts of it are not. The first is that, of course, you can be placing books on hold using Destiny Discover. And I've put a screenshot here of our library homepage on the presentation so that you can see that the first button is the one I'm referring to here. You just simply click on that library catalog button and you log in using your student ID and Colab password. From there, remember, you do get a Schoology message when your books are ready. So that's an easy way to do it, especially on those days when you are working from home, whether you're in cohorts A, B, or C. You can place those books on hold. Usually within 15 to 20 minutes, Mrs. Kumper and myself will be sending you a message to let you know that the books are ready to pick up. Other ways that you can get books, the second one is one that we've just opened up as of the last couple of days, and that's to stop in during class or advisory or activity time for a quick browse and checkout. Be sure that if you've not yet taken advantage of that opportunity, we're so excited to be having students come down to the library, sanitize their hands, and take a few minutes to browse the shelves. Please do come down and see us if you haven't done so yet. A third option is to use that Mac and Via app. It is available here on the homepage too, as you can see on my screen, but remember that that app is something that's on your iPad, and you can use that to get a hold of some really great ebooks and audiobooks. So tons of great ways to get books from our library. Just some reminders for you as we get started. Speaking of Destiny Discover and our catalog that has all of these books to look at, I wanted to highlight a couple things that we are changing all the time to try and make it easier for you to find some great books, especially maybe books that you wouldn't be aware of. During these book talks, I only have so much time to share great books with you, and I usually try to share those that I know have been popular with students in the past. This way here on Discover, you might see a book that we only have one copy of. And so I may not be sharing that with classes because that one book would get checked out right away, and then students would be frustrated that they couldn't get a hold of it. So it's great that Discover has this option for us to put some new books up there for you to take a look at. I'm going to click on this link here that's going to bring us directly to Destiny Discover. So this is the catalog that you guys look at. I want to point out that this top banner right now says elections and voting. And of course, that's right in line with the fact that we've got the election coming up as of right now when I'm giving this presentation. This banner is changing all the time. So depending on what's going on, we're trying to switch this up maybe every week or a week and a half and changing it up with different books for you. So right now, the collection of books that's up there for you to take a look at and consider checking out are about elections and voting in some way. We might have, depending on a holiday or an event, maybe something going on in our school or books that kids have been asking about, we'll be changing that banner, like I said, about every week, week and a half, just so that you have some new books to take a look at. So keep checking back to see what's up there. And again, these are books that maybe aren't always getting looked at because they're not ones that I'm sharing in book talks. Toward the middle of the page here, as we scroll down, I may have mentioned this too already, but I'll mention it again. Under collections, we have these right now just 4 buttons, but you're going to see that number increase as the year goes on as well. And that's because we're wanting to add different groupings of books that we'd like to share with students. The first one says the series continues. So that's simply an additional book in a series that we wanted to add. And so if you're looking for, do we have book number 5 in that series that you've been wanting to read, this might be a good button to click on to find out. New and Notable is the one I'm going to click on just to show you as an example, because again, we're going to continue to add different collections as the year goes on. If I click on New and Notable, this brings me to 86 different books so far that are all brand new to our library within the last 6 months. These are new books. Many of them have not even been checked out yet. Some have only been checked out once or maybe twice. So these are, as it says here, the best of our newest books. Be one of the first students to check it out. This is great because you can see at a glance a nice summary, some information with the cover. It gives you some ideas of topics underneath each title. So this is another way to find something terrific to read, and it's all within this category of new and notable. So knowing that these are some of our newest reads, and just like always, if I were to click on this one, for example, if I were to log myself in, and I'm not logged in now, but if I were to, right here, I could then go ahead and place this book on hold if I wanted to do so. So just be aware that on Destiny Discover, we are trying to add all the time new ways for you to shop for books, because we realize so much of your time is at home. You are spending more time at home than you are here at school. We want to help you find ways to look for great books, and especially maybe find some books that you wouldn't ordinarily pick up. And not only is that top banner changing all the time, but these collections are going to continue to be added to. So visit the page often and stop back to find out what else is new there. With that, I am ready to talk about some great books that I'd love to share with you in our talk today. This first one by Gordon Korman is Ungifted, one of my favorites by him, and he's just known for his funny books. This is about a kid named Donovan Curtis, who's had all kinds of trouble. In fact, he's been called a troublemaker a number of times. The one thing he's never been called is gifted before, until now. Donovan pulled a major prank at his middle school, got himself in the principal's office, and the principal has told Donovan, all right, that's it. I have reached my breaking point with you. I'm signing up for detention because you clearly are not understanding that I'm fed up. Donovan's paperwork gets mixed up, however, and instead of winding up in detention, he gets enrolled in a program for the gifted and talented. Those students at his school who are the brightest and the hardest working, and Donovan at first is thrilled. He thinks, oh my gosh, what could be better? Not only am I not in trouble, but I can fool all of these super smart kids into thinking I'm super smart too. But it turns out that is harder than he first realizes. This story is absolutely hilarious. It involves an unforgettable, dramatic middle school dance and a robot, as you can see from the cover, that you have to read to find out. Just a hilarious book about a kid who started out making a lot of trouble, and, well, he finds his way from there. This is the first book in a 2-book series. We have both Ungifted and Super Gifted in the library. Pax by Sarah Pennypacker is perfect for those who love friendship stories, and especially if you're an animal lover. This is an adventure book about Pax, who is a fox. And this is an unusual story because it's told from the perspective of both Peter, Pax's owner, and Pax himself, the fox. Peter and Pax have been best friends ever since Peter rescued Pax long ago. He's taken care of Pax much the way a boy would take care of a dog. And Pax and Peter have always played this game where Peter will take a little toy army soldier and pull it from his pocket and throw it, and Pax will run out and catch it, fetch it, I guess, the way a dog would, and bring it back to Peter. So one day, Peter and his dad and Pax all climb in the car, and they drive for a long time, and Pax can tell that Peter is clearly sad. He's crying, and Pax doesn't know why. They get out of the car, and they get to this clearing in the forest, and Pax is excited when he sees that Peter's taken the toy out of his pocket. He knows exactly what to do. Peter throws the toy, and Pax runs for it, and when he turns around with the toy in his mouth, the car with Peter and his father is gone. He's been left behind. He can't believe it. Well, Peter and his father have gone off to Peter's grandfather's house. It's the time of war, and Peter's father has to fight. Peter's grandfather said Pax is not welcome at his home. Peter doesn't even make it through the first night at his grandpa's without being filled with regret and worry and sadness, and he decides he has to leave in the middle of the night with a backpack to go and find his best friend Pax. And Pax has decided he's got to find his human. This is the story of the two of them trying to find one another again, and it's beautiful. It's by Sarah Pennypacker, and I highly recommend it. Football Genius by Tim Green. This is a great story for sports lovers because it has lots of football action, but I really liked it too because it's not necessarily just for those who love to read about sports. This story imagines what it would be like if you could predict the future. And that's what can happen with Troy. He's got this incredible gift of predicting football plays before they even happen. He can predict any position, any player on any team, which is pretty awesome because his mom, who's a single mom and has been working really hard, has just landed this job with the Atlanta Falcons. And their team has had a long run of losses. Troy figures all he needs to do is let the team know that he has this gift, and they're going to be able to win all these games, and their season is going to explode, right? They're going to have all this success. It's going to be incredible. His mom's going to get this huge promotion. He's just imagining all these great things. But of course, he first has to convince the players and the manager and all of that he even has this gift at all. It's a great story of him and his friends trying to come up with a plan to get one of the players' attention and convince them that this is even a possibility. If you love sports stories and if you love a story with kind of an unbelievable twist to it, pick up Football Genius by Tim Green, or really any of his books. Those of you that love sports will love any of the books that he's written. The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. For those of you who have not yet read this series or seen any of the movies, this would be a great recommendation if you're looking for a new fantasy series. Percy Jackson's a household name by this point. He's a really good kid, but he cannot focus, and in fact, he's having a hard time keeping his anger at bay. He's been away at boarding school, and he swears his algebra teacher may have just turned into a monster and tried to kill him. Sounds like a bad deal. Percy's mom realizes that things are going badly for her son, and so she decides it's about time Percy knew where he came from, and she sends him away to a summer camp, Camp Half-Blood. This camp is not quite what Percy expected it to be. It's a summer camp for demigods, and there he learns the father that he never knew is Poseidon, god of the sea. And within this, he learns all kinds of things. A mystery kind of unfolds with his friends. He discovers that there's a war that's about to break out among the gods, and he is right in the middle of it. It's an exciting and really funny book, just even this first book, if you don't get into the whole series. But of course, it's a fabulous series full of mythology and chock full of humor, too. Give that one a try by Riordan. One last book in our library is One for the Murphys by Linda Mullally Hunt, one of my favorite realistic fiction that is just a nice, quick read about a girl who has had a rough start. She and her mom have had kind of a tumultuous relationship where her mom has made things rough and to the point, in fact, where now her mom can't be a part of her life. And you learn why at the beginning of the book. She's been placed into foster care with a family, the Murphys. And this family has 3 boys. Poor Carly here is really having a hard time settling into that idea. And she does not believe that it's even possible to be part of a happy family. Mrs. Murphy, the mom, however, is very persistent and very much wants Carly to understand their family is not perfect, but they are happy, and they want Carly to be a part of it, and they want Carly to feel loved and cared for and wanted as part of the family. And Carly's putting up all kinds of walls and barriers to make sure that she protects herself. And yet the longer that she's there and the more that she sees how these people care for one another, even through the hard times, the more she understands that it's probably going to be okay for her to stay too. This is a great, great book for anybody who has been through some hard stuff, or can really just understand how hard it can be to be part of a family at times. Even when families care about one another, that there can just be really rough times that make it difficult to get through. This story is a memorable story. It's one that you will not be able to put down, I promise. One for the Murphys. Give that one a try. I wanted to end by telling a little bit about the Scholastic Book Fair that is coming, and if this were a normal school year, we would be having it in the makerspace room behind the library. But unfortunately, due to COVID, we won't be able to do it in person, at least this fall, so we are having it online, which is still super exciting. It is going to be available starting Monday, November 16th, and going all the way through Sunday, November 29th. And all purchases available through that book fair will support our school. So there will be more information coming to your classrooms soon. With that, you'll be getting some brochures or some little pamphlets about some of the great books that are offered. And oh my gosh, there are some really good ones that are going to be there. You can also visit the library homepage to learn a little bit more about the book fair, and there's going to be stuff in the announcements as well. But I thought just to get you thinking a little about the book fair, I'd show you right now 2 short book trailers about 2 of the fabulous reads that are going to be available. So we're going to end with 2 book videos. Let's take a look.
I've always had a strange fascination with dolls. For as long as I can remember, they've been my favorite toys. Dolls always seemed like my friends, better than real people. The best part is, when I play with my dolls play back. Come read with me at your Scholastic Book Fair.
So that's perfect for those of you that love that creepy horror type of read. And for those that want something on the lighter side.
We're the Babysitters Club. Call us if you need us. Hi. Oh my God. Good afternoon, Babysitters Club.
You're learning about yourselves and the way you want to be in the world.
I started the Babysitters Club to take care of kids. But we were more than a club. We were best friends. Babysitters Club!
So those are a couple of things that you might want to consider when it comes to the Scholastic Book Fair. Again, there will be more information coming out soon about that, and we'll be talking more about that in the near future. Thanks so much for tuning in to this book talk. I really appreciate that. And in the meantime, before I see you again, happy reading.